I failed at my first business in my 20s. These are 5 lessons that would have saved it. I built a business in New York, a specialty food retail store, in a busy neighborhood with traffic. The product was great. We had repeat customers, the store was busy, there was definitely a need in the market, and I still failed. Not because the fundamentals were broken, but because I ran it like chaos was a personality trait. Every day felt productive. I was opening, I was closing, ordering, putting out fires, answering questions, covering shifts, dealing with vendors, fixing displays, handling random problems that somehow became my job. I was busy from the second I woke up until I fell asleep, and somehow the business was still starving. Now here's the part that hurts. I didn't lose because I wasn't smart enough. I lost because I didn't have the boring stuff. I didn't have leadership, I didn't have processes, I didn't have priorities, I didn't have systems. So after 4 years, I sold it. So ask yourself this: are you building a business or are you building a job that you can't escape? And if you're in your 20s building a business, or if you're older but still operating like you're in your 20s, this video is the shortcut I wish someone had shoved in my face. Because since that store, I've gone on to build brands across e-com, retail, SaaS, and service. Different models, different markets, but the same underlying rules. The lessons don't care what you sell, they care how you run. So in the next few minutes, I'm going to try and give you 5 business lessons I learned the expensive way: cash flow, customers, distribution, priorities, and systems, so you can move faster with fewer scars. And as we go, listen for the pattern. Every mystery problem in business is usually one of these 5 showing up in a costume. So ready? And lesson 1 is the one that decides if you get to stay in the game long enough to learn the rest. It's the most important one. Lesson 1: cash flow is a strategy, not a spreadsheet. I'm going to say it again. Cash flow is a strategy, not a spreadsheet. In your 20s, you think growth solves everything. I did. If I just sell more, the problems go away. I believe that in my business. More customers, more products, more hustle. But cash flow is oxygen. Businesses don't die because the idea is bad. They die because they run out of oxygen. So here's the trap. You can have revenue and still be broke. Retail taught me that fast. You sell today, but you paid for that inventory weeks ago. Rent and payroll, they don't care about your busy weekend. And when you don't know your numbers, every decision becomes emotional. You start making panic moves. You start discounting to create cash. You start over-ordering because you're optimistic, taking on random work just to cover the bills. But that's not strategy, that's survival. So you want to treat cash flow like a weapon, not something you review monthly, something you manage weekly. So here are 3 non-negotiables. Know your runway every week. If sales stop today, how many months until you're done? Don't confuse revenue with profit, and don't confuse profit with cash. Timing matters. Build offers that pull cash forward. Tactics like taking deposits, creating product bundles, monthly subscriptions, pre-sales on new products. Here's a 10-minute check. List the bills due in the next 30 days. List how much cash is expected in by week. And if there's a gap, fix it with one move. Cut costs, negotiate better payment terms with suppliers, raise prices, pull cash forward with some sort of prepay. Something. Look at what's happening and make a change. And here's 2 more upgrades. Shorten the cash conversion cycle. Your job is always the same. Get paid sooner than you pay others. You have to flip it. This was my problem. I was paying for stuff that I bought already before I sold it. Make cash decisions before growth decisions. Before you hire or scale ads, ask, what does this do to the runway in the next 4 weeks? Every Monday, ask 3 questions. What cash came in last week? What must go out this week? And what's the one action that I can increase cash in the next 14 days? The point isn't to obsess over spreadsheets. The point is to stop managing the business with hope. Cash flow is a strategy, and strategy is what keeps you in the game. Survival first. Then you earn the right to grow and scale. Lesson 2. Your customer doesn't buy your product. They buy the outcome. Every successful product isn't selling a feature. It's selling a bridge from a current state of a problem or pain point to one of these desired outcomes. And these are pretty standard: relief, confidence, status, speed, simplicity, or certainty. Those 6 show up all the time in marketing. Those are the outcomes people look for. So let me explain them. Relief. This outcome focuses on the removal of a specific physical or emotional pain point that's causing active distress. It doesn't just sell ibuprofen. It sells the end of a throbbing headache. Confidence. This empowers the user to feel competent, capable, self-assured in their ability to perform a task or present themselves. So think Grammarly. It removes the the fear of looking unprofessional by ensuring your emails are typo-free. AI is doing it today for people. Status. This taps into the human desire for social signaling, prestige, being perceived as part of an elite or successful group. Think Rolex. People don't buy it to tell time. They buy it to tell the world they've made it. Speed. This outcome promises the gift of time by getting the user from their problem to their solution in the shortest interval possible. Think TurboTax. It transforms the weeks-long dread of taxes into a streamlined afternoon. Simplicity. This removes the mental load by taking a complex, friction-heavy process and making it intuitive and effortless. Think Apple iPhones when they first came out. This initial success was built on taking the complex smartphone and making it usable for even your grandmother. Certainty. This provides the psychological safety of knowing exactly what the result will be, eliminating the risk of a bad surprise. FedEx. You pay a premium for the overnight guarantee because you can't afford the risk of it not arriving. So here's a tactical framework for figuring out the pain point and the desired outcome. And I'm putting my marketing hat on because this is something we use all the time. Pick one or two outcomes your best customers want most. Not 5, not 6, not everything. The clearer the outcome, the easier the sale. 2, start asking buyers because you want to steal the customer's language. What made you start looking? What have you tried? What didn't work? What happens if this isn't fixed in the next 6 months? Then copy their phrases into your headlines and bullets. If they say overwhelmed, don't write streamline workflow. Write stop feeling overwhelmed. Use their language. Translate features into so what. So take a feature and add which means until it lands as a result. 24-hour support, which means you don't get stuck, which means you move faster, which means you hit deadlines without stress. That's how you start to build your marketing messaging. Message as before, after, with a believable bridge. Before is the pain in your target customer's words. The bridge is your mechanism, what you're building, how you do it. After is the result and how it makes them feel. And 5, prove it fast. Real numbers, get testimonials, get case studies, get risk reversal. If you can't prove the promise yet, narrow it until you can. And align your offer to the outcome. And this is where businesses leak money. If they want speed, sell done-for-you templates, pre-built bundles, fast shipping, skip the line. If they want certainty, sell guarantees, onboarding, clear milestones, transparent tracking. If they want simplicity, remove steps, remove choices, pre-package the solution. And if they want status, do a premium presentation, scarcity, social proof, members-only access. This works everywhere. That's how you price. You price off the outcome. You don't just price off your competitors. You price off the outcome you're providing. So in retail, people aren't buying specialty pasta. They're buying the feeling of hosting a dinner party like a pro. In SaaS, they aren't buying automation. They're buying not having to think about it again. In service, they aren't buying consulting hours. They're buying confidence that someone competent is driving. So here's one quick exercise. Rewrite your main offer in one sentence that starts like this. And use this also if you're raising capital. This is how you talk to an investor. It's how you talk to customers. I help your target customer go from pain point to result in X amount of time without the common objection. If you can fill that in cleanly, your marketing will feel inexpensive. If you can't fill it out, you'll be paying to overcome confusion. Pricing changes when outcomes are clear. You can raise your prices when you have a very clear outcome that you can deliver to people. People pay more to save time and reduce risk than they do for extra features. So before you rebuild the product, rebuild the message. Outcome first, proof second, features last. Lesson 3, distribution beats genius. A great product with no distribution is not a business. A decent product with strong distribution can win because the market rewards what gets seen, understood, and tried consistently. Your job isn't marketing. Your job is building a predictable pipeline. And a pipeline has 5 parts. Traffic, where the attention comes from. Capture, turn the attention into an owned contract. Nurture, build trust, proof, education, retargeting. Convert, checkout, call, proposal. And repeat, renewals, referrals, reactivation. If any of these steps are weak, growth is going to feel random. The mistake founders make is tourist testing. We see this all the time. 1 week of ads, 3 posts, a cold email blast, then it doesn't work. That's not a test. That's impatience. You have to pick 1 or 2 channels and commit long enough to get good. You pick paid if you have money. It's most expensive channel, but if you have money and you want to do paid ads, so be it. Content and outreach if you have time. Partnerships, referrals if you already have customers. Marketplaces or events if demand already exists there. Then measure the handoffs. Traffic leads to capture. Capture leads to meetings or trial. Meetings lead to close rate. Close rate leads to retention. Run a 30-minute pipeline review every Friday. Find the bottleneck, then change one thing next week. Make sure it works. 1 new creative, 1 better offer, 1 tighter landing page, 1 follow-up sequence, 1 partner, whatever it is. Just change 1 thing. When you do this, you stop being surprised. Your business becomes math, and you get better product feedback because you're in the market daily. The highest leverage shift is tracking inputs you control, not outcomes you hope for. Examples of controllable inputs are X number of outbound messages per day, Y pieces of content per week, Z partner conversations per month, A dollars per day in ads, and B new creatives per week. Outcomes like leads, sales are lagging indicators. Inputs are leading indicators. Also, don't split your attention budget. If you choose content, don't also run 5 random ad tests. If you choose outbound, you don't also dabble in 7 platforms. Focus compounds because you learn faster. You learn which hook gets replies, which offer gets booked, which objections show up, which proof removes friction. A simple commitment rule. Give a channel 30 days to get data, 60 days to get competent, 90 days to get predictable. So assuming you're shipping consistently, most people quit at day 9. And remember, distribution isn't just acquisition, it's retention too. Email, SMS, community, in-app notifications, referral loops, those are distribution channels you own. The cheapest customer to acquire is the one who already trusts you. If you feel stuck, don't ask, how do I make it better? First ask, how do I get this in front of more qualified people this week? Because being better doesn't matter if you're invisible. Build the pipe, then improve the product inside the pipe. That order is how real businesses beat better ideas. Lesson 4, you don't have a time problem. You have a priorities problem. Busy is not a flex. Busy is often avoidance. I can't stand founders who sit there and talk to me about, I'm so busy, look at my schedule, it's packed. If that's the fact, right, then you're filling your days with low-value work. You're filling your days with reactive messages, tiny fixes, meetings without purpose, tasks that feel productive because they're easy to finish. Meanwhile, the business needs 3 things: acquisition, conversion, retention. So use this filter. If a task does not increase revenue, does not reduce costs, or does not improve retention, it's background noise. Either delete it, delay it, or delegate it. 2 tactical rules. Batch similar work together. Switching from one context to another, that's costly. It's costly on your brain. Set communication office hours. If people can interrupt you anytime, you'll never do deep work. Here's a simple weekly schedule that keeps you out of chaos mode. Monday, let's discuss the scoreboard and the targets for 60 minutes. Keep the meeting short. Review leads, customer acquisition costs, conversion rate, average order value, repeat rate, whatever it is. Choose one bottleneck also. Set targets, make one cash decision for the next 14 days. On Tuesdays, discuss the acquisition system. That's going to take a little bit more time, maybe 2 hours, maybe 4. Depends on how big you are. But you want to talk about content, outreach, ads, creative, partnerships. Set an output goal, not a time goal on that meeting. Set an output goal, not a time goal. But again, make sure everybody comes prepared. Make sure you're just hitting those numbers. Wednesday, you do your conversion block, maybe 2 hours, maybe 4 hours, depending on how big you are. Discuss number of calls, number of demos, number of proposals, number of follow-ups. Remove one buying friction point. Thursdays, you focus on retention and expansion. Again, depending on how big you are, that meeting's going to be between 2 and 4 hours. Discuss onboarding rates, customer success, reactivation, referrals, upsells. The cheapest growth is keeping what you have already paid for. Friday, focus on systems and cleanup. Make that meeting 90 minutes. Document what worked. Fix one recurring issue. Plan next week's 3 moves to improve. And the daily rule, do 1 to 3 needle movers before you touch your messages. If the first thing you do every day is open up Slack, then your brain is focused on other people's priorities. Protect one deep work block every day. If it's not scheduled, it'll be stolen by noise. And build a weekly scoreboard. So priorities objective, not emotional. Track only a handful of numbers. Leads, amount of traffic, customer acquisition cost or cost per lead, conversion rate, average order value or average deal size, repeat or retention rate. Why? Because what you measure is what improves. Without a scoreboard, you'll feel busy and still be guessing. So if you're not delegating yet, start tiny. Hire somebody to do 5 hours per week for the first pass on admin, scheduling, customer emails, simple support tickets, or bookkeeping. Delegation isn't about dumping work. It's about protecting your brain for decisions that move revenue. Here's how you think about it. And this is another mind shift. Your calendar is a budget. If you spend it on $10 an hour tasks, you'll get $10 an hour results. Your job is to spend it on $1,000 an hour decisions, demand generation, closing, retention, hiring, and systems. So if your calendar is full, but your revenue isn't moving, you're not productive. You're just entertained by tasks. So when in doubt, ask, will this matter in 90 days? If not, it's probably a distraction. Priorities turn time into progress. Everything else is motion. Pick the move, ignore everything else today. Lesson 5, your mindset doesn't matter without systems. I gotta tell you, I'm so tired of gurus, coaches, everybody telling you the secret to success is your mindset and your motivation. I'm a coach. I never talk about mindset and motivation. I talk about how to scale a business. You already have the mindset and the motivation because you took the first steps to start. But motivation is a mood. Moods don't scale. What changes outcomes is boring. It's systems. Your business is perfectly designed to produce the results you're getting. So if you're stressed, the business is designed to create stress. If every week feels like a surprise, your business is designed to run on surprises. If you're the only person who can fix anything, it's designed to depend on you. And that was was my first business in New York. The concept wasn't broken, the execution was. I didn't have leadership habits, processes, or a way to make normal happen, so every day was chaos. Define a system in plain English. A system is a repeatable way to get a predictable result. 4 systems run almost every business, right? Get attention, that's marketing. Turn attention into money, that's sales or conversions. Deliver the result, that's operations or fulfillment. Keep and expand customers, that's retention. If one is missing, you feel it as chaos. Early systems aren't corporate binders. They're the best known way written down so you stop re-solving the same problem every week. A system could look like a checklist, it could look like a routine, a template, a dashboard, whatever works for you. You don't need all 4, you need one. Here's an example in sales. If leads ghost you, it's rarely the market. It's usually a missing step, follow-up cadence, proof at the right moment, a clear next action. A system defines what happens within 5 minutes, 24 hours, 72 hours, and after no response. Example, marketing. If posting is random, results are random. A system defines the weekly output and the offer you're pushing, and the feedback loop that turns objections into content. This is also leadership. Leadership isn't charisma. Leadership is clarity, expectations, priorities, and what good looks like. Without systems, your team can't win consistently, so you end up micromanaging and everyone gets stressed. 3 high-level systems that kill chaos without bureaucracy. System 1, a weekly operating rhythm, your business scoreboard, priorities, do a midweek pipeline check and a Friday debrief. System 2, it's a decision filter, increase revenue, reduce cost, improve retention. Or it's later, no, or delegate. If it doesn't do one of those 3 things, increase revenue, reduce cost, improve retention, then it's either you're going to do it later, you're not going to do it at all, or you're going to delegate it. System 3, document once, repeat forever. When something works, capture it so it becomes the default. Systems are how you behave on your worst day. So ask, if I disappeared for 14 days, what breaks first? That's the next system. Start small in the next 2 weeks. Pick one recurring problem that steals the most time. Write a 1-page default. What are the steps? Who's the owner? What's the expected result? Put one metric next to it, because the goal isn't perfection, it's predictability. Predictability gives you margin. Margin gives you calm. Calm gives you better decisions. So here's a quick recap. Cash flow is oxygen. Manage it weekly. Sell outcomes, not features. Always translate in the customer's words. Distribution beats genius. Build a pipeline, not a hope. Priorities beat busyness. Run the week around acquisition, conversions, retention. System beat vibes. Make results repeatable. And one more thing. Systems force you to confront where you're unclear. When you try to write how we do this, you realize you don't actually know what good looks like yet. That's not a failure, that's leadership. Clarity is built, not discovered. Systems also protect relationships. When everything is in your head, you correct people in the moment under stress at the worst possible time. When the expectation is written, the conversation becomes calm. Here's the standard, let's improve the process. And to be clear, systems don't mean you turn into a robot. Systems mean you stop relying on heroics. Heroics feel good for a week, then they burn you out. Systems quietly win for years. And if you're thinking I'm too small for systems, you're exactly the right size. Systems are how small teams punch above their weight. One checklist can prevent a refund. One follow-up routine can double close rate. One weekly review can cash issue before it becomes a crisis. You don't systematize because you're big. You systematize so you can get big. If you want more videos on installing systems and building predictable growth, subscribe and like the video. And I'll see you in the next one.